Welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. And today, Jimmy Failla and I, obviously together, because it is Monday. And we have to save our real president, President Donald J. Trump, who is about to face his fourth indictment. How many can he fit in before, election season really starts? Maybe two more before the first debate that he attends. So, Jimmy, what do you make of the most recent indictment dump in Fulton County?
It's so weird.
Georgia.
To think that we'd never indicted a president. The country's 247 years old now. Same age as Dianne Feinstein. It's odd, but here we are. But we've never indicted a president 247 years.
Yet the country doesn't fall down as much as it does.
It's weird. But now, indicting a president has become like the ice bucket challenge. Remember when you had to do it and dare somebody to do it?
Yeah.
So Alvin Bragg did it, dumped the bucket of water on himself, and was like, I dare you, Jack Smith. And Smith's like, I'm in. And now here we are.
But he forgot to put the ice in the bucket. And everyone's like, it's like a
no one's going to
donate.
This isn't going to go viral. I think the Georgia one's a dead end. To be honest with you, man, it's really hard to watch this and not be bothered by the timing of it all.
No, that's exactly what's going on. So, but I'm watching all, and they're like, we just need different venues.
Yeah.
We need a RICO charge. That's really hard to wiggle out of. But the analysts here are missing the story.
Yeah.
Because every time he's indicted, he goes up 4 more points.
Isn't it crazy?
It is the most bizarre thing, but it's fascinating because the indictments appear to be kryptonite for Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, they're killing him.
I don't understand how they don't understand that this is only helping him. And Obama was the only one to tell Joe Biden, hey, man, this is not a layup.
Yeah.
He can still beat you.
Yeah, slow your roll. And I think part of the problem is people try to characterize the fact that his support is hardening on the fact that his followers must be crazy. This must be a cult. It's not about his followers. It's about what people think of the DOJ. I'm sad that indicting a president helps him, because that's a really bad reflection on the integrity of the DOJ.
That's a very interesting way of looking at it.
That didn't country.
Yes.
In a normal world, that we grew up in, if a politician got indicted, they resigned before there was a trial or a case. They were like, this ain't good. I want to spend more time with my family. And then they went to an all-inclusive with a side chick. But you know what? A man works his whole life. You know what I'm saying?
I was thinking about today?
Yeah.
If former President Trump went into exile, where would he go?
That's so funny.
I mean, where would he go? Would he go to North Korea?
No, I mean, if you want to...
He's beloved there. Would he go to Saudi Arabia?
If you want to go someplace where there's no one else, you'd probably go to a Biden rally, I think is the easy take, a Biden or a Kamala event. There's nobody there. No, you're right to say that, because he would be a big deal in other parts of the world. I mean, I think he'd be a hero in the Middle East. The Abraham Accords are actually a pretty good thing. But
3-year anniversary.
But it's crazy to think that we're now in this unprecedented moment where it doesn't move the needle. Trump being indicted for a 4th time, it doesn't move the needle. I don't even mean the needle of electoral politics. I mean the needle of national interest. A president or former president being indicted would have not only been front page news, it would have been all page news.
It would have been a year story.
Thank you.
Yeah, and now it's like, oh, another indictment? Oh, that's cool. Always on fire?
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Did that Kardashian have the baby yet?
Yeah.
Page 1, Trump indicted, page 2. Nobody cares. But I mean, that's a reflection of them. Because
Are we too addicted to drama?
No, this is what I think happened, okay? When you're operating from a place of emotion, as people are wont to do, it often denies you self-awareness. Self-awareness that tells you you'd otherwise sound like an idiot to rational people. We've all been in a fight with someone we were romantically involved in. When the moment ended, you realize, okay, sorry, I didn't mean you were a toothless pirate hooker. You do have teeth, Jenny. Okay, you have a full set of teeth, and I take it back. You are not a toothless pirate hooker. But the point is, when the emotion of the situation wears off, you usually come out of that fog and realize you're not quite being normal. The Democrats manufactured...
No one wants to apologize.
But this is the thing. They manufactured a hysteria around him. Okay, and they've bought into that hysteria on such a level that it's emotional for them, and they don't realize how crazy they look to rational people. 2 things can be true. Trump throws a lot of wild pitches. Okay, Trump is oftentimes his own worst enemy. But the people who held him in enough regard that he
our wild thing, Jim? Is that what you're saying?
It's the Ricky Vaughn. I want sleeveless Trump on the campaign trail. But think about this. Like, Trump was on NBC for 15 years. He was on The View for 15 years. He hung out with Oprah. He hung out with Barbara Walters. He hung out with Howard Stern when Howard was the king of all media. Howard's now...
Bill and Hillary went to his wedding with Melania.
And Howard's now the Prince Harry of all media, but that's another story for another time. The point is, he was normal. He was a common thing in our lives. And when Trump entered into politics...
He was in Home Alone 2, for God's sake.
Which he is going to get charged for not helping Kevin McAllister more at that airport. We've been to O'Hare. Not everybody has your membership in the United Club. Kevin was fending for himself that day, which I do not recommend.
No, and he did not have Bloody Marys because that would have been a crime.
But the manufactured hysteria about his entrance into politics is what they've used to justify a lot of underhanded things. The Mueller probe was underhanded. He shouldn't have been impeached for what he did in Ukraine if the impeachment was over threatening to withhold aid.
James Comey leaking information to the New York Times through a conduit, that's wrong.
If we're talking about protecting classified information or government information.
Spying on Carter Page, like making up stories about Russian servers and all of this chatter and activity being centered like right under the nexus of Trump Tower. Like they've got a hotline to the commies in Russia.
But you could pull it off because they had manufactured so much hysteria that everyone became a prisoner of the moment, where they were an emotional mess. And they were like, well, yeah, this is possible. You know, this guy we watched on TV for 15 years, he's actually the love child of Darth Vader and a spray-tanned Hitler. We didn't know it this whole time. Who knew? Those hair and makeup teams are good.
I thought Hitler had a natural glow.
I don't know.
Boy, don't I feel stupid. But I still keep going back to they're playing from the same crappy old playbook. And it barely worked in 2020. It did. Like
They got what they wanted.
Like Joe Biden is the president, blah, blah, blah. I get all that. They got what they wanted. But unfortunately, what happened to Donald Trump is he had a record that ran against him. And Joe Biden has the same thing now. Like being vice president for 8 years, you really don't have to do much other than send your dumb kid out to go on the take with rich authoritarians in very shady parts of the world, fill up the family grab bag, and leave.
That's it.
But now that he has a presidential record and an economic record and really bad poll numbers running against him, it's not a shoo-in. And they had Trump figured out for a little while. And that was, take away his megaphone, take away Twitter, take away Facebook, ignore him, and he went away. His numbers dropped. He was not a driver in the election, and they were like, oh, Ron DeSantis gives us everything we want without the blowhard. And then they went all in on a losing strategy, and maybe he will get convicted of something. Maybe they will perfectly time all of his court appearances and what are trials to coincide with primary season.
But think about what a horrible reflection it is on Biden and the DOJ that Trump might be in jail and might have a good chance of winning the election. That's not a reflection on Trump. It's a reflection on the people around him. And the fact that he's being indicted for things he could have been indicted for a year ago or 2 years ago means the timing of this, very curious, is all I'm trying to say.
Yes, because all of the stuff, you're absolutely right. If there was an urgency, they could have done it then. Same thing with Hunter Biden. He was under investigation for 5 years. They're like, 2 misdemeanors. Ooh, that was really tough on the poor kid.
How about a plea deal?
Just an addicted artist. That's all he is.
Just a struggling artist. How about a plea deal that absolves you of future crimes?
Yeah.
Who's?
Yeah, and the judge asked one question like, wait a second, so is he still under investigation? Well, yeah. No, so you're telling me that what he's under active investigation for, this deal gives him immunity. And they're like, well, I mean, imagine if you want to put it that way.
Imagine I'm your lawyer and we're negotiating a plea deal because you were doing 82 and a 30, which does happen with you from time to time. The Dairy Queen is not open 24 hours. Okay, you got to get there before it closes.
If you are in the drive-through lane and it's crowded and it's past closing time, they're not going to stay open for that.
No. It's not the southern border where they tell you it's closed but let in 6 million people. It's Dairy Queen. If they say it's closed, it's closed. 6 million people aren't getting in. They're certainly not getting a free hotel room out of the deal. Okay, so anyway, if I am negotiating your plea deal for doing 82 and a 30, and I'm like, by the way, can you also absolve her of murder down the road?
Yeah.
They handcuff me in the court. They're like, what do you know? But in this instance, they're like, no, it's no big deal. I just want a pardon for future crimes.
That is not preferential treatment. Yes, for crimes we didn't even realize. Things that weren't investigated because the juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
As they like to say.
Oh, my God. That assistant DA, whoever said that, like, I actually want to find her and high five her because she's like the dumb person at Bud Light. It was like, we just have to stop being so fratty.
We're going to find out that the girl who left Bud Light because she was forced out, she works for the DOJ. She's doing messaging for DOJ now.
She's an assistant U.S. attorney. It's like the juice really isn't worth the squeeze, you guys.
But again, that's why Trump indictments are helping Trump. It's because the DOJ is now the Bud Light of government entities. That's not good.
No, that's absolutely right. And you know what, Jim? Mm-hmm. Even though it is piss water, they're drunk on power.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I know we have a lot to talk about next week, and you're going to have a big announcement to make. So until then, let's go live our lives. Let's go change the world.
America.
Let's go heal some families.
USA.
And you know what I love about the podcast we did, you giving me advice for my daughter? She didn't listen to
None of it. No, zero. I ran into your daughter after the podcast. And it was like, I'm not trying to have a moment here, but as someone who's watched you grow into the woman you are, she's like, do you have any ice? It's like, wait, what? I thought we were talking here.
I'll tell you a really funny story. So Guy Benson and his husband Adam are having a child. They have a surrogate who is pregnant with their baby, and it's really beautiful. They are going to be a family here very soon. So Guy was over at my house. Pele is in the kitchen. And I said, Guy, do you want to tell Pele the big news? And Pele's like, what? And Guy said, we're having a baby. And she goes, ew, gross. You and my mom? And he said, no, Pele. Me and my husband, Adam, are having. And she's like, oh, that's amazing. And walked away.
Well, she doesn't know. That's a reflection on you because you kind of have that vibe of I'll do anything for a dare. Or if you're
Guys, seriously, let's try and get me pregnant. This will be fun. I'm almost 51. This will be great.
The baby's name is Triple Dog Dare Benson.
All right, Jim. We got to wrap this son of a bitch up. This has been Kennedy Saves the World along with Jimmy Failla. I'm Kennedy.